Hello and welcome to Cosmic Connections. This is another episode where we're interviewing the speakers of the Cosmic Patterns Conference that will be taking place March 2025. Today we have Lea, and we're going to be talking about the work that she does with astrology and her presentation that she'll be giving in the conference. So welcome, Lea, to our podcast. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for the invitation. Glad to be here.
Yes. Thank you for coming. So Lea is an international speaker. She's also an author of several books. She's an intuitive success coach, and she blends her expertise in human physiology, acupuncture, and what she calls energy psychology. She also works with flower essences and astrology. So I was excited because I actually had one of her books. This is one of them, Energy Astrology, that I got when I met her in 2018 at the UAC conference. So yeah, and I'm so excited to learn more about it because we didn't have a lot of time to talk there. And I'm also excited to hear about your presentation and the things that you're going to be sharing at the conference. So yeah. So your presentation at the Cosmic Patterns Conference is going to be consisting of information about the 12 houses and about tapping. So can you explain a little bit to us about what tapping is for people that are watching that don't necessarily know what that is?
Sure. Tapping is actually a technique for energy psychology. Instead of using acupuncture needles to activate acupuncture points, we use just a light tapping with your hands on specific topics, specific points where meridians are surfacing on your skin. And the very interesting thing is that these 12 meridians are actually completely connected with 12 house of zodiac.
Oh, very cool.
Wow.
So is tapping similar in the way that you're using it, similar to the emotional freedom technique or the EFT technique, or is it different?
So, okay, emotional freedom techniques, they use 9 points. And in these Astromeridian techniques, we use 12 points. So each point is connected with one meridian and one astrological house. And this is how you can actually go through your chart and literally open house by houses and activate like your financial or maybe your health or I don't know, your love life. I mean, whatever is what you want.
Oh, that's such a cool technique.
It's really cool. And we get to learn this at the Convergence 2025. Wow. In person. Wow.
Yes, it will be in person. It's super exciting because that's something I've not worked with. I've worked with a lot of energy healing in different ways, but this is something completely new to me. So I'm excited to watch your presentation and to learn about how to open up the different houses using tapping techniques.
It's going to be very practical. And what I really like when you are working live in the group, I mean, I first introduce all meridians and the houses, and then I choose some people. But even if you are not the one that is tapping with me, you start learning. And it's interesting because I put the chart and then we start tapping. And, you know, it's so interesting when you start opening someone, let's say 6th house, the person will start saying the things that are making, let's say, disease or that trouble. But then after a second round of tapping, the person starts saying the things that will heal that person and that will help. And it's so interesting. If you're an astrologer, you can follow the chart and see these things that are coming from someone subconscious. I mean, it's not like the things that we already know, the solutions we know, but it's really there. It's in subconscious. And when you really see that session, you see how we can pull this answer out from the client.
Wow.
It's really fun.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So
then there's 12 meridians. Is there 12 meridians then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, awesome. Okay.
Actually, how I start thinking about that, it's a really interesting story because I have a background in medicine and in science. So I really like even these days reading scientific journals. So I remember one article, the name was Acupuncture, Astrology Without Needles. So I was thinking, okay, like what does it mean? And the guy started explaining in a very scientific way how each of 12 meridians is active 2 hours. And then and actually that was the first time I saw someone connecting, this like houses with meridians. And then I start first, of course, trying on myself and then with the clients. And then I also start thinking, like for me, houses are the most personal things we have. Like how did you get your chart with your first breath? I mean, this is how you incarnate in here, and your last, breath out. I mean, you're leaving this incarnation. And it's so interesting because the houses are the most personal things that we have. And if we can use the houses consciously, like the ruler of that house is planet in that house is very consciously, um, we can really put things in action. And I think it's probably the fastest thing that you consciously use energy of your chart. There are other ways, of course, but this is like really fast because the houses are so fast. I mean, how our ascendant is moving, this is much faster than movement of the planets.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. I never even thought of it from that perspective of the houses being really personal for that reason, because it's the moment you're born that the houses are, only in that space in that moment. A few minutes later they're moving. Yeah. Yeah. That's really really interesting.
Unlike the planets, which are sort of energy drives, the house is the physical manifestation. So like a body is a house. It's the house of our energy. So the houses represent the body. Yes, it manifesting in certain ways. So that would totally make sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also when we talk about manifestation, like for me, manifestation is happening when your mind start to trust your body. Like we wish so many different things, but how do you feel them in your body? Like, do you feel relaxed receiving that, or you feel like a fear, or half doubt, half excited? So the house is like Christopher said, it's really body embodying something. So your body can trust your mind, and this is when manifestation is happening. So we're also going to work through that on this.
Wow.
Yeah, that would make sense, because if you're dealing with tapping, you're touching that part of the body which is represented by the astrological house. You're wanting the energy to flow through that house, and you're sort of calling it forth with the tapping, like it to get it to flow. So yeah, that sounds very interesting. That makes logical sense. That's good. That sounds like that's going to be very interesting to learn about. Practical, as you say, it's very practical, and like something that a person can use right away.
Exactly. You can use, like, you can learn on the lecture, you can have experience. And what I also like when you are live, you have experience how energy is shifting, and how energy is shifting very fast. You can literally feel. I mean, you don't have to be super sensitive. Still, you can feel.
Yeah, you can feel the energy flowing. Right.
Yeah.
Can you do tapping on other people, like you as an astrologer practitioner, or do you just teach people how to do it on themselves?
I do many different energy works, and I always like to teach people how to do for themselves. Maybe I'm not right, I don't know, but for my 20 years experience, I think energy is always around us. And if we don't have enough energy, this is like, if you don't have enough oxygen, it's not because there is not around you, but maybe you're upset, so you have a shallow breathing. So like for me, when you use someone else's energy, or when someone is working on you, I don't know, it's only if you're in really, bad situation, but any other situation, it's very empowering when you know what you do, why you're doing that, how do you do, and you can do anytime by yourself. Because I believe it's not only that empower you mentally and emotionally, but also spiritually, because you tap then in your own chart, but what is happening in that flow, especially let's say with the challenging aspect, like ruler of one house has challenging aspect with something. When you use this challenging aspect, I believe challenging aspects are food for higher self. They're not like sextiles and trine, they're easy. But challenging aspect, you need to raise your consciousness, means you need to tap into that cosmic energy. And when you do tapping consciously for yourself, you are connecting, especially with the challenging aspect, you are making like a quantum leap, because you are connecting with that cosmic energy of you. So I would always rather learn someone, because it's not a big learning curve, really. I mean, you can learn in like 10-15 minutes, enough so you can practice by yourself. So I would always go by that.
So,
Yeah.
if I'm understanding you correctly, is for your clients, when you meet with them, you teach them the technique and they go home and they apply it themselves.
Yeah.
And they can come back to you and help them also do it for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I go one session with them. When we work on specific topic, we just go on, let's say, maybe first 10-15 minutes, because I want them to, just open up that area. And then we use mostly like 3 rounds of tapping. First one, really to, just ground yourself, accept where you are. And then the second one, I think, if you're too much in your head, you really even don't know what do you want.
Go.
It's
Yeah.
like too many, you're pulled
Yeah.
everywhere. So the first round is really just the mind and body are coming together. So the second round is the round when I start asking the questions, like why you're here, what do you want, like what can I help you with, and then in that round we are tapping. And this is when someone says, let's say, oh, I have a problem because, let's say, I don't have enough energy, and then we go here and do the first meridian. Or like, oh, I have a problem with, I don't know, my relationship. And then this is the point we go and we do opening the seventh house, like pericardium meridian. Or like, I have a problem in my business or with my career. And then I immediately know where to go, like the 10th meridian, it's a 10th house. And then I said, okay, just start tapping here. And then while we tap that point, just close your eyes, and then we start, with the questions and talking. So the first round is really grounding. The second one, I'm asking like why you are here. And the moment when I hear like why you are here, sometimes people are talking about I don't know, concrete outside circumstances, maybe like relationship with finances. And sometimes they are talking about how they feel, but also through, I will show that on my lecture. I have a circle of 12 houses, and I put the words about circumstances, about emotions, and also about mindset, because people are different. If you are probably a lot of Gemini or Virgo, you will be, oh, I think that, and then you need to catch what client is saying, like the words, thinking, opinion. Or some people are, I don't know, Cancer or Pisces, and then they're like how they feel. It's more the inner emotional thing. Or I don't know, some people are maybe like Taurus or Capricorn, and they're very concrete. They're talking about circumstances. So then I show during the lecture this circle, like how you can recognize which meridian and which house you want to tap. So yeah, and I think
Do you also tie it into transits? Do you look at like what's transiting a particular house and tie tapping into that type of modality with transits, or no?
I do, but I always, like you said, I always consider the house to be the most personal thing.
Right.
So
Well,
yeah,
what I would be dealing, let's say you have some of the outer planets transiting, you could have Pluto transiting the 7th house. I mean, that's going to be a thing.
Yeah.
It's gonna be there quite a while.
I didn't hear now.
Yeah, I think he got
freezing.
He might have got.
So
Christopher, can you repeat that question?
Yes, please.
Oh, well, I was just saying, like you get some of the outer planets that are in a house for a long time, like the Uranus through 7 years in the house. I was just wondering if that would play into this. It would seem like it might influence some stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and but I always start from the house, and then from the house, we actually explore everything that is like maybe planets in the house, something that is hitting this house, like a trend
within the natal chart.
But like the focus is, like you said, the really the houses is the body. So we work on that house because the main topic is always a particular house, but then we go deeper and deeper into that.
Right. Then you're dealing with the energy sources passing through that particular aspect of the body. Yeah, that makes total sense. I mean, that sounds really good. That's very, very physically practical,
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is a hands-on activity. This is really cool.
Yeah, that will be really interesting to see, to learn this particular way. And it's interesting that Christopher asked about outer planets transiting the houses, because Pluto is just right on my midhaven at 0 degrees Aquarius, and then Uranus has just passed my ascendant. So outer planets crossing these particular very strong points in my house. So I'll look forward to understanding how to work with them also within my chart itself, to be able to understand how to work with it in a healing way. Yeah. And that's really great because, I've worked with Reiki for a really long time and the chakra system. And I knew a little bit about EFT, but not enough to really, teach it or anything like that. So it's exciting because it'll be another layer of understanding about how to help work with people in healing. And it makes a lot of sense what you said about empowering the other person to work with themselves, as opposed to letting them be dependent on you, because that's not what your goal is. And that makes sense. Like teach them to take care of themselves. Yeah, I love that.
Homework.
Yes, I love that.
Really like, I mean, when I work with the clients or students, I like that they have, let's say, experience, and then when they come back, we just go deeper. And through this work, I really understood this Mars exaltation in Capricorn, because I always somehow thinking, when I think about Capricorn, I always think about responsibility, and when you work this with Mars, with the energy, you really got that like responsibility, like instead of being sad or like depressed or like stuck somewhere because your energy is stagnant, you have a way to really to like move, to become like you have your responsibility, not like in your head, but you can really respond differently. And it's amazing because even if not just the client, but we as astrologers, we deeply understand many of our aspects. We definitely understand them, and that's like super helpful. But sometimes we don't have this responsibility. You don't have a big, even you do understand that. You understand maybe even very deep on all levels, but if you don't have energy, if you don't change your energy, I mean, I'm not saying it's only theory, but you have to have energy to really have different, like, really responsibilities.
So you're really saying responsibility as the ability to respond.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm hearing. You are saying responsibility is the ability to respond.
Right.
And that's what you're calling forth. And then with the houses, you're saying, okay, this is the physical body. You have the ability to respond. You begin with the tapping, which begins a foundational movement to respond in that area. That's what it sounds like you're saying to me. Would that be correct?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, you that's like 100%.
Yeah. And so Mars in Capricorn, as you were saying, Mars in Capricorn is the quintessential ability to respond, because there is a maturing, there is responsibility.
Responsibility.
That makes total sense. Yeah. Which again, in our society today, where so much is blaming, we have so much blame that I cannot respond. I'm putting it off, but
not taking the responsibility.
Yeah. Well, it's you have the ability to respond. Now, are you going to use it?
Right.
Are you going to respond? That's the question. Yeah. Oh, that's really good. I think this is so really, really wonderful because it's so hands-on. People will have the ability to begin to use this right away on themselves, and then also practicing with that, and then being able to give something to a client that they can do. For me, that's always so important, that they need to have an action, because just a thought, it can go away, but when you tie it to an action, it really can cement it in. It again, a person is taking the responsibility. They are trying to do something. So that sounds wonderful. I'm looking forward to learning all about this.
Yeah, that's what she said.
I don't know if I'm going to wait for the conference now.
No, you're waiting. You're waiting.
Well, you'll have to pick up her book. I know you have other books too, right, Leah?
Buy the book.
Yeah.
You're gonna bring some copies of your book, right, sister?
Sorry.
You're going to bring your book so that we can sell it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm looking for really, and I think it's going to be great. I'm sure that all lectures will be exactly what we need. But I'm thinking about this particular topic. I'm thinking about next year. It's so about go over that bridge and make that shift. And when you think about all these big planets are like making shift, and it's primarily the shift from like water and earth element toward like a fire and air, and I see like, not gender, but I'm talking about energy. When we talk about energy, that's a masculine energy. That's all about action. And next year, we would all be invited, really, just go and do that action. Like Christopher said, it's okay, but you have to do something about that. And when we talk about, this Mars exalted in Capricorn, like, what about time? Like, how much time do you need to have that ability to respond to something? Mostly that time is connected with our energy. When our energy shift, this is when we can act. I mean, of course, the big part is being conscious about something, understanding what is happening, why it's happening. But you need this third element. When your energy shifts, then you're actually really able to do something. And I think it will be really wonderful for us and our client to give them something practical, because everything is shifting into this masculine energy, this fire and air, and everything will be quicker. And it means we as astrologer, if we really want to help client to keep up, not to be overwhelmed, not to be stressed, not to be like, oh, I don't have time, if we can give them these insights but also help them to really do something, do now, I think that will be really like huge difference.
Especially when you link it
next
to
year.
it's one thing, because so I'm familiar with tapping, but it's been more the type of tapping that I've been introduced to is a little more generic. It's not, this sounds a lot more exacting. Like you have a specific intention, where some of the other tapping is a little more general. This one's specific to you because your house system is unique. So that sounds very appealing to me, because I am, I've got a Virgo moon, so I'm really picky. I like
I know. I have Mars in 13 Virgo, where is Mercury exaltation. I really like these practical things, and I like to test them, like how do they work on me, on my clients and my students.
I am exactly the same.
And then like when your client or your students come like second time, I also show that on in the second part of the lecture. What I really think it's becoming even more fun, and you go deeper when you understand, okay, you have something in that house. Let's say you have Venus, but that Venus is maybe ruling your 11th house. Okay, so now you have it in 7th house, but your relationship, why do you have this crazy thinking, should I stay or should I go? Like, why you are like that, and that's because it's not just the Venus, it's 11th house. And then you think, now I'm using like the point of 7th house, and I'm also using 11th meridian, and then you go deeper. So, and as you said, like, do you look for the transit? This is what I'm teaching students. I call that like energy cocktail, like you have to maintain,
absolutely.
like main thing is house. It's always house. This is the area where you want to work now. And then from the house, you can add, if there is, let's say, the planet, then you can add also that meridian, like if that planet is ruling some other house. And of course, there is some important transit. So you start making these cocktails, and it's very specific. And I think this is why you do this change, and you go right there. When you're an astrologer, you really know 12 houses. You understand like what is finance, what is like your health is 6th house. I mean, it's easy when you're an astrologer. It's so fun.
Is there a certain house system that you use? A specific house system that you use with this?
I use Placidus. And I always said, because I want to be very transparent, I didn't try with other house systems. So I'm not saying the other systems are not working. Everybody needs to try. But what I know for sure, that these 12 meridians, this is it. I mean, this is the best system for astrologers, because activating houses is the fastest way really to make a change. So I give the system, and then I tell people, just I use Placidus, but I think people should try on all different systems. Absolutely.
Right. So it might resonate more. Different systems might resonate with other people a little different, but that makes sense to have something you start with and then build from there.
I find it very accurate. That's what I use as well. Never tried other house systems.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So you also work with just other things that you do. You also work a lot with herbs as well. So do you do like to help people prescribing herbs with people for healing and that sort of thing, or is it related to the astrology work, or is it something more towards the medical work
It's
that you do?
for me, everything is astrology because I believe astrology. No, really, I
Yeah,
believe
yes,
astrology is the easiest way. If you really know astrology, that you can understand pretty much everything.
yes.
And I have the book. The name of the book is Astrohealing. I will also bring that book. And then because I'm also a Bach flower practitioner and some other thing, and I actually make categorization in the book so that you know when you open your chart. I mean, you just read that book and you find like, oh, I have this aspect in this house. Like, what does it
Yeah.
mean? Like, what is this, like a plant or like crystal? But what I really like, and this is how I wrote that book, I don't like when someone is just giving me something and I don't understand how the person come up with that. It
Mm.
drives me crazy because I just need to believe that. And I always like explanations. So in the book, I explain, like mentally, emotionally pattern that are connected with these like flower essences and everything. And I always said to people, this is one system. There is a lot of value. You can always try and make modification. But in order to really be free to explore, you need to understand like, how did I come up with this meridian or that, and then you can, I mean, just use it the way you want. So
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
think it's empowering, I don't
yeah,
like, oh, this is what it is. I mean, how did you come to that conclusion? I mean, what?
yeah. She mixes her own flower essences and she
Oh,
prescribes it based on your chart.
Yes.
It
wow.
really works. It worked for me.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, the flower essences are amazingly beautiful. My father, when he was living, had anxiety really bad, and they prescribed him all kinds of anxiety medicine from the doctor. And then one of his friends who's into flower essence said, "Get the rescue remedy from Bach," and he would take it, and it that's all he needed, just the flower essences, and it just took his anxiety away. So it was, I mean, I know that really works and it's very helpful to a lot of people. So
Yeah.
yeah.
She also has animal essences.
Yeah.
Animal essences? Oh,
Yes.
Yeah, actually, it's interesting how flower essence and animal essence and crystal essence, like how they work. Like usually, I'm not saying 100%, but usually clients when they come to visit us, they have some problem, they have some issue.
yeah.
I don't feel good about that. So especially if they're not kids, we as adults, we develop many layer on layer on layer. And then I start first working with flower essences because we need to work through that emotional part. And then when someone is feeling good, then I use animal essence because you can also see in the chart that we are connected to certain energies, not all animals. And sometimes we just need, because of some transits, maybe a lion essence or something, to move on. And the third thing is when you are good emotionally and you made that action, but you want to stabilize that. Because sometimes we reach some level emotionally or physically or financially, but then we go down after a while. So we want somehow to secure that new level, to be stable. And for me, the best for that are crystal and gem essences because they make your result be stable on that new ground or like new level.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah, I've worked with crystals a lot in my life too, so I do understand how that works. That's interesting though about the animals. I never thought about connecting them to the idea of what the person might need in the moment. And I love cats. I've had cats like for a long time, different cats in my life. And I feel like that they're like in some level, maybe a totem of mine of some sort or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Yeah,
really
and it's
interesting.
just I love cats and dogs, but I'm allergic to them. But when I
Yeah.
go out there at the beach, for example, all these dogs just gather around me, surrounding me. I don't call them; they come to me. The same thing with dogs. I mean,
They love
really,
you.
I resonate to them, but I'm allergic to them.
Mm.
I
Maybe
just
they're
let them
trying
come
to,
to me. I just don't touch them.
yeah.
It's
I
amazing. It's really fascinating.
I love all the animals. The cats seem to either resonate with me or vice versa. I don't know, but that just happens to be my little animals. I mean, I go to the park and like the birds and the squirrels are all like come to me. I feel like Snow White because I bring them food. Like, here, have this. They know me at this point, so they're like, oh, here she is. She's got food. Let's go around her. It's cute. Yeah.
But it also
Christopher is smiling about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, do you use astrology and your medical background to diagnose people, or is that something you keep separate?
I actually I'll say something again. It doesn't mean it's 100% truth for everyone, but what I really believe and how I teach my students in combining astrology and medicine is I think astrology is super helpful when you cannot help with other tools.
Yes.
I'll give you 2 examples what I mean. Let's say someone wants to find out if they're pregnant. You don't need astrology. You go and buy cheap test in your pharmacy and you find out immediately. But
Right.
let's say I had a parents, my clients, and they have a kid 11 years old, and the lymphatic nodes were in all body. They were like big. And when lymphatic nodes are big, and when you have, let's say, blood result, you should see like that sedimentation is high and, like lymphocytes or these medical parameters, but nothing was evident in blood, results. And this is when, astrology help a lot. Like first, I notice many people who are prone to have that very strange, thing. They have either like Pisces in 6th house or Neptune in 6th house or ruler in the 12th house or maybe
Have
some
to
transits.
diagnosed. Yeah.
And things are not so clear and visible immediately.
Yeah.
And astrology can really help. Like you can really help to see like why all this inflammation. Like is it Mars transit? So if it's Mars transit, is it like a fast transit? You will see it will go like in 5 6 days 10 days, but if you have a one layer deeper, like if you have secondary progression, it means it's deeper. And if you
Yeah.
have, like not only fast transit like Mars, and you have maybe some slower, then you go deeper. But I think astrology, yeah, I kind of combine them, but I think you even don't have to be medical doctor. Astrology can help a lot. But I don't know, I just don't waste my time on things that you can just check and solve, because
Yeah.
I think there are so many people who need our help. And you can see the things that maybe ultrasound cannot see, or like a blood test result. I'm not saying other things are wrong, but I think there are so many people in need. um, I would rather help with the things that maybe only astrology can see that quickly and easy.
Yeah, well, the first doctors were also astrologers, from what I understand of the history of it, too. So they also understood in different ways than what you're talking about, perhaps, but maybe that was the beginning steps of it. But, the body's related to astrology. It's connected to everything, as we all are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fascinating. All of
It is
your work
fascinating.
are really fascinating. No wonder you have lots and lots of clients and followers all over the world. I'm just honored to be your sister, brown sister.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see you in live in Orlando. I saw also other speaker and their lectures, and I think it's going to be great event. I mean, I can't wait, to go there and to meet everyone and to also do this work with the, people in live. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. Everyone, come join us. It's just very exciting.
Yeah, it definitely will be. I think the in-person part of it, and we've talked about that before on other podcasts, but there's something very special about that, being able to communicate with people that you in person, have those conversations you don't necessarily get if you're doing online things. I mean, online's beautiful too, but
Yes.
there's something special about that, being in the presence and the energy of someone else as well. So yeah, that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all of these.
Yes.
Yeah. This is
Thank you so much. Yes.
Yeah, amazing Lea Imsiragic, who is well known around the world.
It was really
You
nice.
will get to meet her in person in Orlando.
Yes, we definitely will. So thank you for joining us today, Lea. It was really a pleasure to speak with you. And I definitely look forward to getting to know you better and watching your presentation and learning about the energy healing, energy astrology healing. So that'll be great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so this wraps up another episode of our Cosmic Connections. And of course, we thank you all for being here, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.